Nigerians, and welcome to FCT Brief. We begin this week by turning our spotlight to a rising political force making the ways ahead of the 2027 general elections. That is the African Democratic Congress. In recent months, the ADC has emerged as a rallying point for opposition voices, political reformists, and young change makers disillusioned by the status quo. With its expanding coalition of regional leaders, technocrats, and civil society actors, the party is building momentum as it sets its sight on 2027. Indeed, forging a cohesive coalition in Nigeria's complex political terrain is no easy task. The party has had to manage internal frictions, power-sharing disagreements, and the daunting task of aligning diverse interests under one political vision.
Still, the ADC remains ambitious. Sources close to the party leadership say consultations are ongoing across the 6 geopolitical zones with plans to unveil a comprehensive national manifesto by the end of the year 2025. Their focus: economic transformation, youth empowerment, decentralization of power, and credible governance. The road ahead is long, and 2027 may seem distant, but in Nigerian politics, early moves often define the final outcome. As the ADC navigates its internal challenges, outline its ambitions, and build a strategy to reach voters nationwide, one thing is certain: the political landscape is shifting. Now let's take a deep dive into the issues in the party shortly after the ADC was adopted by opposition politicians. And to help us put these concerns in proper perspective is the immediate past national chairman, African Democratic Congress ADC, Ralph Oke-Unwosu. Nice to have you join us.
Thank you very much, Tijeso and Esho.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let me begin this way with a quote from one of your lieutenants that was manning one of the states, Benue State, precisely Elias Adik, who said, "We are not part of it and we will not take it. They cannot come to a party they did not register to join and take it over from those who built it. There is a procedure. Get all stakeholders involved so that everyone will make their position known." At this point, how did you carry your lieutenants along in this whole matter of you stepping down? And people say you forced all your state chairmen to also step down.
Thank you very much. I heard you very well, and I can assure you that the guy I know in Benue State didn't write that statement. People wrote it for him, and it could have come from any quarter, and so on. But the important thing is that the coalition has been formed. Nigerians need the coalition now. And why do I say so? We're in a political climate where all you hear, all we seem to be teaching Nigerians, the young ones who are coming up, if you're corrupt, you've stolen government wealth, you leave this party, you come here, your sins are forgiven. Is this is this part of the values we want to live for the next generation? And with this kind of values, how do you shape this country moving forward?
No, well, but you didn't get.
I'm coming there.
All right.
So I can assure you that the acting chairman I know in Benue didn't write that statement. It's written from somewhere. However, we held over 12 NEC meetings, because this journey has taken us more than 18 months. We held over 12 NEC meetings. Before then, the chairman of Benue was suspended because of anti-party activities. But we went to ADR, and we decided to, because we want to bring everybody into this. We went for ADR, and all of them signed that whatever the matter before, the ones in court, everything is withdrawn. They want to be recalled back to their position. And all of this were done. We took steps. Now, we held different meetings. NEC meeting. The people who moved the motions were well documented. INEC has the record. And we all supported, we want to go become the base party for the coalition. Why? Because you cannot deal with Nigerian issue, 20-something% of Africa, and you're talking, you are being parochial. You have to look Africa, and that's why it's African Democratic Congress. And this era, after 26 years of democracy in Nigeria, it has come to stay. We have to eternalize it. That's why African Democratic Congress. And the Congress in the name is clear. I mean, one of the most enduring and endearing democracy in Africa started with the struggle of the South African people, and they have the African National Congress. So the Congress is critical because you have to have staying power. So for my friend whom I made state chairman, he's been in the party, but this one's, all of them claim we worked for the party for so and so. He's been in the party for less than 4 years. We brought them in because we want to solidify our party.
Well, Mr. Nwosu, if you insist that everyone was being carried along, there are growing claims that the merger wasn't just political, it was transactional. Some say monies exchanged hands and ADC platform was sold off. How do you now respond to these allegations?
We take it one after the other. Okay. For the Benue State guy, I'm sorry if you feel that way, but I know that by the time our next meeting will hold, almost now, I even saw the Edo State chairman. He was quoted in the paper that NEC was consulted. Everybody, you know,
and even the national leader do maybe
and so on. Now, national leader where doesn't presidential candidacy expire? If you're presidential candidate for 2002, 2003, you become presidential candidate forever. I mean, listen, we are not here to clown. Nigeria needs some urgency, and the urgency we are getting in ADC. You see, where are we going? We cannot continue seeing what we are seeing in Benue State. We cannot see what we are seeing in Borno State.
I asked you a question.
And then we are moving
was the ADC sold
way.
off? I'd like you to answer that question because we don't really have much time. So,
come. You invite me for this program.
Yes, we want to get a robust discussion.
So please, let us discuss it.
All right.
If you are an agent also, I will walk out.
No, not an agent. It's a question.
I'm also a journalist.
Yes.
You a question. I'm not an agent. I'm a journalist.
You look at me as a transgender person?
But she said what people are saying. How will you respond?
You didn't say what people are saying.
No, she said so. She said what people are saying. How will you respond?
Now, listen. There's no state chairman who would tell you that I'm a transgender person. After 20 years, there's no year. Running a political party is a big thing. I have invested billions of naira from the time we articulated this party till now. And when we articulated it, we were sure that this time will come because we saw how our parties were failing in party management. We were sure that this time will come. And when the time came, I went around looking for people, say, come, this is the time for us to save this country. I have children who were trained, went to the best universities, Imperial College, Stanford, Columbia, and so on. But they cannot come back to this country. And you think I will trade their security and their welfare and the welfare of many Nigerians for how much? For how much? That's wrong and rude. We are patriots. If you don't believe that we still have patriots in this country, then you're wrong. I have, as a businessman, I saw money. From 1987, I started my business immediately after I finished my youth service. And from 1987, 88, 89, I've seen big money.
Now, Mr. Nwosu.
And, excuse me, because when people When you confront me this morning with allegation of a transaction, I take serious exception to that. I've seen money. But politics for me, if you check me out for more than 20-something years, I'll tell you, for me, politics, I am a missionary in this journey. And I can sacrifice anything to save this country.
Now, Mr. Wozu, there's no need to be agitated about it. Just like you know yourself, Nigerians also have the right to ask some questions. Because even before now, the normal thing with adopting political party is the executive will remain and the party will go in for an election. But in this instance, the entire executive stepped down. So people are asking, is it just for the love of the country or what?
There are a lot of persons who love this country more than you think. But the fact that we have a few politicians who now feel that it's politicians that are the millionaires and billionaires. Meanwhile, businessmen, ordinary Nigerians are poor. There are a lot of good persons. And I'm sure even in this studio, in TVC, irrespective of the history and the ownership, a lot of people who work here have the quality of mind of people who work in CNN and BBC. And I know about that. I can tell you, I am a change scholar. I lead change. I have dealt with human persons. We can change this country. The psychology is leadership that shape the values, and values eventually shape culture. Right now, the culture is rotten. The culture is rotten. It needs the kind of actions we are taking now to be able to get it right. All the state chairmen were consulted. We had over 12 NEC meetings. NEC meetings means that state chairmen, NWC members are there. The motions were well moved.
All right, Mr. Nwosu.
But people can take what is happening in other parties. People cannot take what is happening in other parties and what is happening in the legislation and what is happening in the villa and what is happening with contract award to judge what we have done.
All right, Mr. Nwosu, let's move along. A lot of Nigerians are now asking deeper questions, and not just about the coalition's ability to win elections. They are also asking some of these politicians leading the charge, they have their own baggage. Do you think that they have the moral ground to also criticize the Tinubu government, and also possibly, is there a possible way they could also take over government in 2027?
Thank you. I am a Catholic, and the Catholic in me tells me that if you've sinned in any way, and there's repentance, there's re-examination of conscience, and so on, thorough reflection and re-examination of conscience, that you can, you can lead a new life. We have been meeting for the last 18 months. And now that the coalition has been consolidated, the next thing we are going to hold retreats. I have not been part of many of them, but now I've become one of the central figures. But I'm serving from the floor, not holding any position. I serve from the floor. We are going to hold retreats so that our values moving forward will be redefined. Our politics cannot continue like this. Our governance system cannot continue this way. Everybody has signed in. All the people who say they are contesting for president, people who want to contest in any election, they've all signed in that we are going to start this process by taking a deep reflective retreat to put the sins, the value depreciation and faults before all of us. And then we look at ourselves at the face and say, how do we move on from here? And former Governor El Rufai and Ibrahim Kashim, they've been mandated to look for the best experts within this country, because we have them, to handle this retreat, and we're going to do it in the country, not abroad. The retreats will be done. Anybody who will contest the election in this party, anybody who will serve any office, we must, within the next 3 to 6 months, we will present Nigerians with core values of the party. And if they find us liable in any way,
all right,
they will deal with us.
Mr. Nwosu, I like your analysis.
The culture must change.
I like your analysis earlier when you talked about your integrity and the kind of quality leadership you actually want for this country. Now, some of these people that have come into your party, like my colleague said, had their baggages, and they were also part of where we are today as Nigeria. They were the leaders yesterday, and they cannot be removed from the problem of Nigeria because they're part of it. Now, why would somebody with this high integrity step down? Why is it not you that is leading the party to this 2027 battle? Why allow some of these people that people say they have baggages to come to take over the party? And you talk about the quality of leadership you have.
I.e., somebody like Senator David Mark.
Was part of Nigerians' problem.
Senator David Mark taking over from me. A young man, a man who at a young age signed that he's ready to give his life for the sake of this country. Being part of the military, the time they were part of the military, by signing that form to go to NDA or to become a military man, you said you're ready to commit your life to this country. There's no other sacrifice above that. And he did that. Exigencies of the time happened that they became part of government, and eventually military started to frolic with government and so on. Exigencies of the time. But then, when he turned over, you can see the discipline in him. When he turned over to contest for the Senate seat, he became a Senate president for 2 terms, and we had calm and pace. And the National Assembly could stand to give direction to the police formation of the executive and so on. It has, ever since he finished, it has not happened. So it's a man of dignity, a man of discipline, and a man who had committed at any time. There's no politician now playing who you will say, who can sign any form. I can give my life for Nigeria. So, and you say it takes over as a, don't put people together.
Don't put it together. He's part of, I said he's part of the history of Nigeria. So if Nigeria is where she is today, some people brought Nigeria to where she is.
Yes. The experience, the discipline, and the values we want to create now in our polity. Missionary value. People who are ready to commit to give their life for the country, and so on. So him taking over from me, I feel very, very proud. And the National Secretary, we are taking time to select. The National Secretary, Ralph Aregbesola, his compass is clear. He's been governor 2 terms, minister 2 terms, but one of the simplest human person with the highest integrity anybody can find. So these 2 individuals and a lot more, it's a process. We've not completed the process. But then, most importantly, is that we said we are going to conduct a retreat. And during that retreat, we look at everybody in the face. There's this kind of deep, reflective retreat where you are given paper, and have been a leadership student, I know it. You will be given a paper, think about your life from when you were born to now, the time you served in the office. And bring out everything. Bring yourself out. You bring yourself out, we all see it. We say, is this the way to go another way?
If you permit me to come in here, please. Yeah, thank you. There's already talk that the ADC might struggle to manage some ambitions and new power plays coming in, especially when it's time to choose a presidential candidate. We already hear that certain groups, particularly the Obedience, are saying that if Peter Obi does not emerge as the presidential candidate, you will not have their support. How is the ADC planning to manage this interest and ensure that, it doesn't blow up in your faces?
I'm sure that Peter Obi himself would not say, I
said he supports.
I know. I'm sure that Peter Obi, being a leader, will not also make that statement. Okay. When we are trying to build a coalition of different interests. I mean, our supporters, everybody will say things, but it's now for the leadership to show the way. From all the processes we will take leading to who becomes presidential candidate, so it will be so open to all Nigerians that whomever emerges will be a sterling president for Nigeria and for the party. But having said that, there are many, from Peter Obi to Rotimi Amechi to Emeka Nwajuba to Atiku Abubakar to El Rufai and others. They've been mentioned as people who are running for president. But by the time we finish the template to this process, by the time we come up with our manifesto, the manifesto will be Peter Obi coming up with ideas on economy, Atiku coming up with ideas on leadership, El Rufai coming up with ideas on management and big project, Rotimi and Emeka Nwajuba doing their own, all of this married together.
And how fair and transparent will be that process?
When these ideas are married together, even if none of them becomes the presidential candidate, the program will go.
How fair and transparent would that process be?
The process of the selection?
Yes.
I tell you, Nigerians will see it. By the time we finish our retreat and bring out some documentations, how it will be, and bring out the manifesto, that whether it's Peter Obi, whether it's Atiku, whether it's Rotimi Amechi, whether it's El Rufai, whether it's my good friend, Dr. Bamidele Ganiyu Ajadi, who even most of us, the old ADC people, seem to be backing and liking. Whether it's him or any other person that may emerge, the same program will be run by the government. Because
seems like you guys already have an interest.
Because the idea, and that's the way party run. That's the way party is supposed to run. It's not about any, and that's why ADC said we are not going to be a Molue or special purpose vehicle that will take candidates, people who are aspiring for one officer to the place.
No. You seem to be talking about a new generation of politicians that have never held public office before, they've never played politics before. All these people you're talking about were those who were there 16 years, 20 years ago. They played role, they were presidential candidates, they were governors, they were ministers. We know the role they play. Nigerians know the role they play in party politics. Now you're talking about the ADs that these people will go have a retreat, and it's like you feel that this retreat would not be binding. Nigerians are asking, what is different? Is it possible to put new wine in old wineskin?
Experience critical, and nobody is exempted from running. You too can run, and that's why we are building a mega coalition. And the coalition we built, I tell you, my dear friend, if Awolowo was alive today, would he want to join the coalition? Yes. If Zik was alive today, would he want to join the coalition? Yes. If Sheku Shagari was alive today, will he join the coalition? Yes. If our good leader, Sheku Yaradua, was alive, he would join the coalition. Abiola would join the coalition. We are aware that a lot of sins has been committed, but in paving the new path, the same people can come along and say, enough is enough. And that's why the experience is needed. But when we put forward a template that was composed, made up by Peter Obi sitting, Atiku sitting, everybody sitting, and we say this is the template to run this country. And these are our minimum values.
All right, Mr. Nwosu.
So
going forward.
With that, I bet you, even if we elect you to be president, Nigeria will be different.
Well, going forward, would you be able to speak truthfully to the ADC coalition if along the line they deviate from the ideals and philosophy of the party? Will your voice still matter then?
We have a special committee, which that's the only committee I say.
I just need you to answer that in 30 seconds. We don't have time.
And that's the only committee I said I was serving, and I'll be the chairman of the committee. Integrity and Equilibration Committee. so that the moral compass, once it's deviated, I will hit. No. Even after the whole process concludes, I can see, I have been a cabinet chief from Oka since 1994, Ikolodiko of Oka, and so on. No. Therefore, I can go back and sit there and watch. You deviate a hit. And I will mobilize, I say I will mobilize 37.5 million votes for the next president. Well, I will equally mobilize 40 to 50 million votes to get the person out.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but quite interesting contributions this morning. We definitely enjoyed the conversation with you. Thank you for bringing clarity to some issues. And I must clarify that I'm not an agent. I'm just a journalist doing my job, asking the right questions that Nigerians want to know. But we say thank you this morning for joining us on the program.
I want to appreciate you. I take back that word. But occasionally, you get confronted by such questions.
But that is why you need to just answer it that way.
I can see it from your mind. Right. You're too decent to do something.
Thank you so much. Well, Nigerians, that's what we have for you today on FCT Brief. We'll now hand you over to our Lagos studio where Ria
and the rest of the team.
Are standing by.
All right. Thank you so much, TJ Sue. Thank you so much, Abuja. You're welcome back. Now in our Lagos studio.